Welcome to the Healing Project podcast. You, me, and we, where personal growth meets relational intelligence.
In this space, we are committed to having conversations about loving others well without losing yourself. I'm Jefferson.
And I'm Rosa.
And we are the Joneses.
Spiritual leaders, entrepreneurs, and emotional health advocates.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Healing Project podcast. You, me, and we. I'm Coach Rosa, and I'm delighted to be here with you tonight. In this episode, we're going to talk about the topic, who did you have to be? So thank you all so much for being here tonight. As you notice, it's just me tonight. I don't have my co-host Ride or Die with me because we had to take a little bit of a pivot this week. Originally, our plan was to have Coach Jefferson be interviewed by me and give him an opportunity to talk about his journey of learning how to love himself well while also loving others and balancing that out. However, we just had some real life events since we were with you last time. And this podcast about loving others well without losing yourself. I think in order to talk about that in ways that are powerful and authentic, we've got to be real. And so one of the things that I will say is that the reason why we had to pivot is because Coach Jefferson actually lost his mom this past week. She went to be with the Lord. And so, it's kind of difficult, I think, to have a really deep conversation. That conversation feels more sensitive when you are thrust into a grief and loss cycle. And so what we are choosing to do instead is to share something else with you that is still in step with what we've been talking and teaching about, something that will still be helpful to you, and just allow him to have a little time to take a breath and a breather before we get to his interview. And so that's what we're going to be doing in this episode entitled, Who Did You Have to Be? So if you listen to episode 6, where Coach Jefferson interviewed me, where I talked about my journey of learning how to love others well without losing myself, one of the things that was a really prominent and dominant theme was my family and my family of origin, and how my upbringing and my experiences within my family and my community shaped my ideas and my beliefs around love, around sacrifice, those sorts of things. And, that conversation between us ended up being a lot more powerful than I anticipated. And one of the things that he and I got to chatting about right after we recorded the episode was just how much of what we learn about love and serving others and loving others and sacrifice, it really does come from our family of origins. Messages that we receive, some of them are intentional and some of them aren't. Some things are caught and some things are taught. And so in this episode, entitled, Who Did You Have to Be? What you're going to hear is me teaching on something called family archetypes. Okay. And family archetypes is something that I think is going to be really useful to you on the backdrop of hearing my story. And then with Coach Jefferson's story to come, I think it'll help you to think a little bit about yourself within the context of your family of origin. All of these conversations that we're having around loving others well without losing yourself. Our behaviors and our mindsets and our attitudes, good, bad, or indifferent, oftentimes they start within the context of our family of origin. And so in this teaching that you're about to hear in just a couple of moments, that's what I'm really going to delve into. I'm going to explain what family archetypes are, and I'm going to share the different types. And really what you want to do is just listen and take some notes, or better yet, go grab the show notes. Inside of the show notes, you're also going to find some resources and notes, the notes from the actual teaching that I think will be really helpful to you. And you're also going to find an activity that you could use if you care to be a little bit more reflective about who you had to be within your family of origin. And I know that this is a teaching and a conversation that we'll be talking more about in different ways, and it'll really bless you. And so, listen, we're about to get into that now. I want you to listen to this recording about family archetypes and think to yourself, who did I have to be? Hello and welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be learning about family archetypes. So what is a family archetype? It really is just a simple way of saying family roles. And so don't let that get you nervous or confused. So today we're really just talking about family roles. It started because for a lot of people, thinking about their childhood and kind of how things were, sometimes that can be uncomfortable. But I want you to trust me. We're going somewhere with this, and we're having this conversation to help you to open up and to be able to learn and grow and to give you some perspective, right? And without reflection, we can't have growth. So I'm asking you to trust me with this one. I use this a lot in my work as a professional counselor and a coach to help people just get some new perspective on where they are in their life, where they've been, where they've come from, where they are, and how that might be impacting where they're going. So let's get into this. So we're going to talk about the family archetypes and understanding the role that you played in your family of origin. So there are 8 archetypes. The first one is the caregiver nurturer. And in this role, this is a person who looks out for everyone else. They provide comfort, support, and meeting others' needs, often at their own expense. The difficulty with the person who plays this role is that sometimes, they really struggle to meet their own needs. They feel overburdened and unappreciated. They struggle to ask for help or to set boundaries, even though this person is really compassionate, dependable, emotionally attuned, and a stabilizing force in the family. Was this you? Next, we have the hero, the responsible one. This is the one who was the high achiever who brought a lot of pride to the family. They often excelled at school or work or other roles. And this was to show that the family is okay, to compensate for dysfunction. The pros to this is these folks are typically ambitious, reliable, capable, and they set a positive example. The downside, they feel a constant pressure to perform. They hide their struggles. They fear failure, and they may feel lonely or unseen beyond their achievements. Was this you? Next, we have the scapegoat or rebel. This is the one who acts out and draws attention to the family's problems. They challenge authority, and they're often blamed for conflict and become the focus of family tension. The pros of this role is that they're honest, they are courageous, they're independent thinkers, and they are willing to call out the dysfunction. The downside, listen, they often carry blame for issues, which leads to internalized shame and engaging in self-destructive behaviors. And sometimes they alienate themselves from others as well. Was that you? Next, we have the invisible or lost child. This is the quiet one who fades into the background, avoids conflict, and tries not to create problems, often retreating into their own world. The pros is that this one is a pretty independent person, low maintenance, creative, and observant. The cons? They feel unseen or unimportant, struggles to express themselves or to connect with others. They can also feel emotionally distant or isolated. Was that you? Next, we have the mascot or comic relief. This is the entertainer who lightens the mood with humor or charm. They distract the family from pain or conflict by making people laugh. The pros is that this brings joy, it relieves tension. These people are emotionally intuitive and they really know how to uplift other people. The con is that they mask their own pain. They feel pressure to always perform, and they may not be taken seriously or allowed to express deeper emotions. Was that you? Next, we have the protector or the enforcer. This is the defender who steps up to protect the family members and keep everyone in line. They may take on adult responsibilities early. This person is strong, courageous, dependable, and they take initiative when others won't. The cons, Can become controlling or aggressive, struggles to let go of responsibility, and they can feel rigid or overly burdened by duty. Was that you? Next, we have the peacemaker or mediator. This is the diplomat of the family who works to smooth over conflict and keeps harmony within the family. They often put others' needs above their own to keep the peace. The pros is that they're empathetic, calming, good at resolving conflicts, keeps relationships intact. The cons, they avoid necessary conflict, suppress their own emotions, and struggles to assert themselves, which may enable dysfunction. Was that you? And then finally, we have the golden child. This was the favored one who is idealized by parents, often praised for accomplishments, talents, or personality, and held up as the family star. The pros is that this person is confident, usually high achieving. They often receive love and support and seen as a role model. On the flip side, they feel pressured to maintain perfection, experiences envy or resentment from others, and struggles with self-worth outside of others' approval. Was that you? So hopefully this has given you an idea of the 8 different family archetypes and roles. And here's the thing. In our family of origin growing up, we didn't line up and say, hey, who wants to be what and who wants to do what? Listen, this naturally and automatically happens because you're in a family, and it happens naturally within all families. So I want you to think about what role you play, or it could be multiple roles. It's not uncommon for people to identify with 2 or maybe even 3 of the different roles. So I want to think about what resonated with you within your family of origin growing up, and then maybe pick that top one. And have provided some resources here for you to reflect and to think about where you've been and how that's impacting you now. So I hope that this has been insightful for you, and I look forward to hearing about the ways that it is helping you to learn and grow. See you soon.
This podcast will help you better understand God's purpose for your life and your relationships.
Through deep conversations, storytelling, and real-world solutions will inspire you to live, love, and lead from a place of healing.
Visit www.thehealingpros.com and follow us on all social media platforms at The Healing Pros. While we hope you enjoy this podcast, all information shared is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for a relationship with a professional counselor, coach, or clergy member.